name is Juanjo. I'm gonna talk a little bit about what great ASO or App Store optimization can do for you. I work in Localized by Fagonat, so we are part of a game publisher company who used to develop a lot of different small tiny games. One of the reasons why we're talking here about ASO is because so far, we've been able to reach more than 150 million organic downloads just without running any user acquisition, so all done through organic basis. And we've been able to do that also by launching more than 350 games in the market, which gives us like 60 million monthly ad impressions. And in order to tell you why I'm here and what great ASO can do for you, I need to tell you a small sad story. And for that, we need to go back. And I'll be telling you how we pass from all this, for all these 0 to 150 million organic downloads. And also, this sad story has 3 main characters. So, the first guy is Oscar, and the medium guy is Fernando. They are brothers, and Oscar used to work as a techie, as a developer, in a very good company, and Fernando used to be a rap producer, as you can see. So at some point of their life, they decided to quit their jobs and ask their parents for money and created a video game company. They asked their parents for $30,000, and they launched it, or they started to develop what they thought it was going to be a great game. But it was a total disaster. This guy, this third little guy, is Jeff Spade, is the game they developed, and they only made like 3,000 euros in the next 6 months after they launched the game. So it's really, really sad story because they were like, it was a disaster. They were almost broke.
Typical story.
Yeah, it's typical story. They had to abandon their dreams, but they had to work for hire. And then something happened. So this is the sad part of the story, but this is a happy ending story. Because then a guy appeared and he started talking about ASOs. What's ASO? So ASO for at that point, I'm talking here in 2014, was to try to position the game organically, try to apply the same techniques that we were applying for search engine optimization to App Store optimization. So at that point of the life of LabCave, someone from Estonia came and asked LabCave to create like 100 games. Small games, 2D games, super tiny games. Okay, so Fernando and Oscar say, okay, what are you going to do with those games? So this guy mentioned ASO. So that's the first like switch point that we saw in the history of LabCave. Was like, that's the real beginning of LabCave. And we have of that ASO in the heart of our company. And from that point onwards, we became an ASO manufacturer. So at this point, ASO was a powerful team, and they decide what were the approach that we need to have for games. So the first thing that we learned there is to listen to the market. So no matter what you consider it was a good game, no matter that you think that what you have is a super amazing game, what you need to consider is what the market says about your game. And for that, we have the different approach. And we first do the ASO decided pretty much the game. So we're going to create a tiny game, but for puppies, or for dinosaurs, or for dogs, or for police, or for cars, or for soccer. So there was like a bunch of different approaches that we could take. So once the ASO team decided the game type and the game theme, then we created the minimum viable product. And unlike many other companies where they just spent, or even Fernando and Oscar, where they spent like 1.5 years developing what they thought was going to be a great game, let's just try to position a very small game, the minimum viable product, to try to see if the market really like or not like our game. So then, when we have this minimum viable product, we have dedicated the minimum possible amount of resources. This way, the risk is lower. So at this point, we created a very lean production process where ASO decide Then our developers create the minimum viable product, we market them, and just in case the game started to work, in terms of monetization, we decided to move on and update it and improve it. And this is Fernando and Oscar after they proved the test and they proved the market, because we passed from nothing to a company with 150 million organic downloads that we're having now. From a company where we were 10 people to a company where we were 60 people in less than 7 months. We passed from nothing to a company whose biggest deal was China iOS. So we were very good doing positioning games into China iOS. And then in February of 2017, so 1 year ago, Mobusi appeared. What Mobusi? Mobusi is a Spanish network, and they were interested in acquiring the company, and well, they bought us. So now we all Localized is part of Fibonacci Corporation. So, and just to summarize why I'm here and why I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the great ASO can do for you, it's because of that. It's because of that story. It's because in 2017, Localized launched Jeff Space and was a total disaster. So in 2014, we started to work for hire. 1 year later, we started to hear about ASO for the first time. And then we passed from a 10 people company to a 60 people company. And in 2017, the company was acquired by Fibonacci Corporation. So that's what we've been doing in the past. But let me tell you, let's focus now on ASO and why we consider ASO it's super important. But first, what ASO? You know that it's funny because I've been in the booth during the last 2 days, and many people come and appear and say, well, what is all of that ASO? I'm not sure if I could trust in ASO. Is that kind of thing that black? Or it's a funny thing, like someone can say, well, I think ASO is just a Chinese farm with a bunch of mobile and Chinese people doing kind of thing. No. So for us, ASO is a process, and that's the first thing we need to understand. It's a process. ASO is not something that you just do once. It's a process. And we have two main goals. On the first hand, it's improving the app visibility. That means that we need to make sure that people find the app according to the terms that they are looking for into the app stores. And second, it's about improving the conversion rate from the visit to installs. And for that, there are a couple of elements or a couple of areas that we need to really focus on. It's off metadata and on metadata. Off metadata, it's all about the number of installs. It's about the install frequency, the user engagement. This is quite important because in the past, not that long ago, App Store were just interested in numbers and volume. And that's not happening anymore. Now it's very, very important. It's becoming more important even, the user engagement. So we don't want users that just go download our app and then forget about that. It's also important, the ratings, the number of reviews, the backlinks. That's all important for off metadata. For on metadata, we need to consider the app title. We need to consider also the subtitle, the description that we're using, the categories. Things like that are very, very important. And of course, in on metadata is all the visuals. It's all the icons, all the screenshots, all the videos, all the app features, all of that. And also, in on metadata, there are a couple of more factors that we need to consider. That is the app size, that's super important, the size that we're having in the app to download people, and then the developer name. There are a couple of, we consider the historical data that are applied to the name of the developer, and that also influence somehow in the algorithm. So at this point, it's important to mention that all I'm telling you guys is not about magic, it's all about things that we really test. But to be honest, we're talking here about how algorithms work, how the algorithm on Google Play or App Store, which are probably the two most powerful companies in the world, works. So all I'm telling you is demonstrated by data, but I can assure you that is how the real algorithm works. Okay, I just wanted to be honest with you about this. But no matter about that, it's important. So why ASO is so important today? Well, because all of this. It's a crowded market. That's the first thing. There are 3 million apps in Google Play. There are 2.2 million apps in App Store. So with this amount of the huge amount of apps, you need to make your app, you need to make that people are able to find your app. Then searches. Second, it's very important. According to the last researches, between 65 and 85% of global downloads come from searches. So a lot of UA, a lot of PR, but at the end, there are a lot of people that really look for puppies game or for dinosaurs game or all that kind of things. Then, sustainable UA. So, and high CPI cost. I don't know if you've been running CPI for but costs are being super high. Unless you have a game with like $3–4 LTV, it's really impossible to scale your business just based on CPI or purely performance. So ASO allows you to have a sustainable user acquisition because they feed each other. The better the ASO is, the better your user acquisition is because you're going to have your profile, your App Store profile, fully optimized. And the other way around. The better that, the easier is the game for the people to find the game, the lower your CPI are going to be. So at the end, it's about if you look and consider your user acquisition, you need to see what your CPI. If you apply the right ASO, you are able to have a much affordable blended CPI. Then it's all about the traffic quality, where we just launched a game globally, Top 9, and we're seeing that the organic traffic that we are getting from apps from the app stores are really good in terms of monetization. And the LTV, if you consider the different ways that we are calculating LTV through the different channels, we see that the quality of the traffic that comes organically is really, really good in terms of monetization. And then also it's all about brand awareness, and it's about then all it's important, historical data is important, your app developer name in both stores are important. One of the reasons why I'm also here is because like Cave, I've always been betting on the technology. And we also have a lot of experience. We have 10 people right now doing just ASO, but also we'll have an ASO bot. And this bot is something that's quite amazing thing. I'm not a very techy person, but like the kind of people that I have been building, it's really cool. This bot is something that is built based on artificial intelligence and machine learning, and it's a bot that automatically, after you give the system an input, the system gives you back the best possible keyword combination for that input. And how does the system do that? Well, first is search. Search. It automatically finds and filters across thousands of keywords for each platform. So we have a database of more than 500,000 keywords for Google Play and iOS in 12 different languages. And we're able to track how they've been going. After that, the algorithm, according to different KPIs, scores all those keywords that are stored in the database, and according to relevancy, complexity, volume, and historical data, and it automatically gives you a report of the best possible keyword combination at the same time that you're able to see for a specific keyword how the historically has been converting, how's been the trend for that specific keyword, the number of downloads that you're able to get, the conversion rate, the competitors, all of that. So, in our case, what we consider ASO, or what, to put it short, like for us, why we say what we can do for others when we're thinking about ASO. First, it's all about improving visibility. Again, this is super important. We need the people to find our games. We've seen that the market is super crowded, so we need people to find our app. But then it's also about improving the conversion rate. So once we have the user in the App Store, we need to make that the user really download that app. And what kind of things, because I've talked a little bit about the off metadata, that's all the kind of things that we need to influence, but if I want to really make, or if I think what kind of takeaways I would like to have from a talk like this, I think this is very important because these are some of the KPIs that we really consider when we're talking about ASO. First, you need to have localized metadata. That's super important. So there's no point to have the game in Spanish App Store with the English metadata. When I mean metadata, I mean all description, all the text part. Or with Spanish keywords, that kind of thing. We need to use native keywords. Of course, in titles, in subtitles, so in all the description. Also, we need to really check and we need to really worry about like the frequency and the density of the keywords, and also like the frequency, sorry, quantity, frequency, and density of the keywords. So it's not about, we need to really take care because there are a maximum and minimum number of keywords that you can use in order for not to make your game considered as a spam. So it's, if I have a car game, there's no point to use car like 1,000 times, because that doesn't work like that. But it's important to keep that in mind. Then it's all about conversion. And I said here like a couple of conversions that are really important. It's the impression rate, or from the moment that we see that someone see our games in the screen of their phones till they click into the bottom. And for that, it's super important icons. It's super important to make something different. And it's quite good that try to think out of the box here. So, for instance, if you have a game that are set for a specific keyword, then see how the different icon for that specific keywords look like. Because maybe it's important for you to create a different icon with a different color because it's more eye-calling. So that kind of you need to really consider when you're approaching to ASO. And then, of course, it's all about the conversion. It's the second conversion rate, the install rate, the page to install conversion. That's quite important because once you have the user in the page of your app in App Store, you need them. Then you need to do your best in order to make him download your app, and that's very important. Also, it's about benchmark. This is something that is not very well known, but this is super important, especially in Google Play. So Google Play really considers the benchmark with the category, not only conversion rate, so like if for a sport game, what the conversion rate is in general, but also like the retention for day 1, day 7, day 15, and day 30. So if we look back of what we were talking about engagement, is this what I mean? It's like Google Play really consider what's the category KPIs like conversion or even the retention of the users. And if your game is good, then you will be more prominent and you'll be more keen on appearing in upper positions rather than if you're doing really, really bad compared to what the category is doing. And also it's all about historical data. That's very important. It's all about like how you've been doing in the past, downloads, ratings, like number of installs, quality of number of reviews, quality of reviews. All of this is really, really important when they are considering we are approaching ASO. So all of this is like what we do, but let me just tell you some of our case studies and some of the, well, I would say, greatest result that we found with doing the right ASO. The first one, the first case study is for The Respawnable. The Respawnable is a game made by Digital Legends. They're in a studio in Barcelona. They are very better known for Afterpulse game. We'll start talking to them, and here you can see how much they were doing. I'm not sure if you can see, guys, well, but it's like in Brazil they were like 1,200 daily install in Brazil, in USA 400, in Mexico 600. So the first thing that we did is we decided to run an audit. So we took all their data and we started to analyze what we were able to do. And we said, okay, for Brazil, we think that we could get like 1,500 installs. For USA, 1,000, Mexico 1,000. You can see the numbers there. And then in the third column, you're able to see what we finally got. So in Brazil, we were able to increase their organic traffic by 175%. Even more impressive the number in USA, which is a super big country for monetization. Mexico, Russia. So you can see that we were able to increase a lot the organic traffic. And what the kind of thing that we did? So we did here, as you can see, it's a process. So that again, it's not, we don't have a magic wand. So it's about a process of iterating the different options that we mentioned before. And okay, in the first ASO, we did a Halloween update related to Halloween. So we decided to adapt the icon and adapt the metadata. We saw we have like an uplift, but still wasn't enough what we considered. So then, after running several A/B tests, we decided to do an icon update. And then, as you can see on the second orange part, we were starting to see how we really were able, and just because we were able to change small things in the icon, we were able to increase the traffic that much in different countries. Then, and the third ASO update was we did small changes into that icons. So once we decided what kind of icon we have, it was, even if you still can apply small changes, it's like you still can do it much better, as you can see on the third update. And then the fourth one is all about, we decided to again improve the metadata, improve the monetization, the locations in all different languages, improve all the keywords. This is for the, what I mentioned before, sorry, I forgot to mention it was for Google Play. This one is for the App Store. Here is also quite impressive, like for instance in USA, we passed for like roughly 300 to 600 was the goal, till 1100 in terms of organic traffic. In China, around 100, we were able to improve the organic traffic. In Mexico, around 200. So it's quite a lot. And here, what we did in the first update is we did an ASO in the top 5 deals, in top 5 languages. Also, we did the same time a Halloween icon, and we adapt the screenshot for Halloween. And then we saw again a good improvement, but still the big one came when we did a second ASO update and we changed the icon and the screenshots according to what we had previously shown on Google Play. Another one, this is a game that has been developing in-house. Then we've been running a lot of different tests. So basically we did an update in top 5 languages, then we updated again, because the first one, you never know if you're gonna get results. Again, this is not about having a magic wand, it's all about like test and iterate. So in the first ASO, we improved a little bit and then we fall, so we decided to keep working on ASO 2, then again on ASO 3, and then on ASO 3 is when we really saw the difference. We did an icon update there after doing some A/B tests. And then on ASO 4 and 5, we've been updating different, in ASO 4 we increased the number of languages that we were running of the ASO. So this way we were able even to position the game in top chart category in the sport free game section. In France we were top 2, in Spain top 3, Italy top 3, Germany top 6, and in Brazil top 8. Another example. This is Prosecutor. This is a game that made by a Spanish studio. Again, you can see the whole process. There are several lines here. You can see the blue one are the visits, the number of installs, and then the conversion rate. Okay, the gray line. What is important to see here is that we did the first one, the first ASO, and we just did our metadata. After doing all the keyword research, after doing all our studies and analysis, we decided to okay, let's change the position they have the product, but we didn't see any good. As you can see, we even decreased the number of installs. So we keep going, and we decided to make an update of the different screenshots. So still, we didn't get what we wanted. Then we update the icon, and the last one, we decided to update the featured graphic image. And then is where we're able to see the biggest increase. You can see here the number that we've been increasing the number of downloads, and also the number of visits, which is even good because like we are able to bring much more traffic for that specific for the keyword that we were applying. Another one, cross-equal, this is the conversion rate to the category average. This is what I mentioned before to consider the different benchmark. Again, you can see the yellow line is the average that we're seeing in the category. Then the gray one is what we've been working to increase it. And then we're now on the average, and we expect it to increase it to pass it. And this is data for last week. Last one. This is for Cake Master Cooking Google Play app. This is something here you can see the different icon that we've been testing. So far, if you see, there's not such a difference between the different icons. I'm not sure if you can see from the, but like this, okay, well, just because of that, we were able to test all different icons. And you can see here the number of how we were able to increase the number of visits and how, due to all those icon interactions, we were able to keep increasing the number of installs. So again, guys, that ASO is not magic. No one really has a magic one for that. There's a lot of black ASO, but if you trust data, if you really have the team ready to work on all the keyword research, or all the benchmark of really localize all your keyword to do a lot of A/B tests, then you really can get great results. Thank you.
Thank you very much.